Hi everyone, and happy Monday. I wanted to pop on today. Is the lighting okay? Can you see me? I wanted to pop on today and talk about UTIs specifically. Of course, in the context of gut health. And here's the thing, you guys, this is why I love gut health so much, is because it is applicable to literally any health condition that you are struggling with. So I'm going to give you like a little history of my history with UTIs, as well as what I have done recently as I've been struggling with one, and what I've learned about them, especially when it comes to your gut health. So if you guys have questions, just post them below. I'll try to answer them at the end. But I'm going to just sort of go through this. I also wrote a blog post about it previously. So if you Google Kylene, Terhune, UTI, my blog post will come up and it lists out specific ingredients and things I've done in the past. This time it's a little bit more intense. So I've actually added on to that, and that's what I'm going to talk about. So how is the gut connected to a UTI, right? Like sometimes we have different health conditions, like in our brain, or maybe with our energy, or in our urinary tract, and we think that's like so separated from our digestive system, right? Like it can't be a gut problem, but it really is. And here's why. Because in our intestines, that is where our microbiome is regulated. So all the good and bad bacteria and the balance that they have. And those bacteria, those microbiome, they control pretty much every process in our body. They impact our personalities, they impact our moods, they impact our tolerance levels and our ability to have patience, they impact our hormones, they impact our digestion, they impact our poop, they impact our energy levels, they impact our brain fog, they impact everything. So when you think about a urinary tract infection, what it is essentially at its core is a bacterial overgrowth, and it starts in your urethra where you pee. And if it's not kept in check, if it's not controlled, then that bacteria can migrate up into your bladder, cause a lot of bladder irritation. And from your bladder, it can move up to your kidneys. This is why it's really important to get it in check. And why also antibiotics are always an option with this, because it can potentially be really dangerous. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the difference between natural antibiotics and, when to do one or when to do the other. Of course, this is a personal decision. You need to talk with your doctor, but I'm going to share my approach with it. So the reason that your gut is so directly correlated with UTIs is because of that bacterial imbalance. At its core, what it is, a UTI is a bacterial imbalance. And that starts in your gut. So if we are not intaking or supporting enough of our beneficial bacteria, then our bad or opportunistic or negative and harmful bacteria can overgrow. So this can happen anytime we take a round of antibiotics. So let's say maybe you had a sinus infection and you took a round of antibiotics. You could potentially get a UTI or any other bacterial overgrowth or infection that way, because it kills not only the bad bacteria that it's targeting, but also the good bacteria. And those good bacteria have to stay at a certain level in order to control the bad bacteria. So antibiotics, while they're life-saving in a lot of situations, they can actually cause problems like candida overgrowth, UTIs, and things like that when they're used too frequently, or when your body is not supported through the process and your beneficial bacteria are not supported and proliferate and all that sort of thing. So that's not to say, again, that you shouldn't take them. It's just you have to be careful. You can't take them all the time. And so a UTI is extremely painful. Extremely painful. If you've ever had one, they're extremely painful. And like I said, it can potentially be dangerous if it gets up into the kidneys. So you do have to be careful. So it starts in the gut. So this can happen if we take a round of antibiotics. This can happen if we're not eating enough probiotics. It can happen if we're used to taking probiotics and then we stop taking them and we have some opportunistic bacteria then that begin to overgrow. It can also be triggered by low estrogen. So if you're close to your period and your hormones are at their lowest point, low estrogen can contribute to UTIs. And it can also be triggered by stress. So a lot of people will notice that they get a UTI right after a stressful event. So all of these things impact our microbiome balance, which is at the root of these bacterial infections getting out of control. So let me give you a brief history. Back in 2014, maybe, I had 3 UTIs within the span of about a year. And this was before I was an FDN. This was before I worked on my gut. And I took an antibiotic for every single one of them. In 2015, I had a total crash, and that was the beginning of my journey. And so I look back and I think, well, of course it was, because I really messed up my terrain, my environment. I killed a lot of the beneficial bacteria, and I just didn't know that I was doing that at the time. And then I had this recurring infection that, of course, it would come back because I wasn't supporting any of the things that keep it in check at that point in my life. So then ultimately I started working on my gut health and my hormones and my lifestyle and all this kind of stuff, and I never had one again. Well, fast forward through cancer treatment, this past January, a few months ago, I got a UTI. So, cancer treatment really does a number on your body. It's extraordinarily stressful. I had to go through a round of antibiotics during treatment, really strong ones during treatment, because I was getting a little bit of an infection after the second round of chemo. And so that, again, it really sets you up for a lot of issues down the road. While life-saving, right? I had to have that done. There was really not an option. It can lead to these other things. So in January, I had an infection. Well, I happened to, on the way to the doctor, stop at Whole Foods because I think I had some time and I was in a lot of pain. And I checked this product out. It's called UT Vibrance. And it has D-mannose, which is probably something you've heard a lot about, uva ursi, blueberry fruit powder, cranberry whole fruit powder, dandelion root, goldenrod, golden seal, and parsley. So this is a combo powder that you drink. And so it's called Crisis Intervention. I love that. Patrick was making fun of the title the other day because he's like, UT Vibrance, and then underneath it's Crisis Intervention. So, back in January, I stopped on the way to the doctor. Well, what was so amazing about this was that by the time I saw the doctor, I was feeling better. So I got the antibiotic back in January, but I was like, man, I'm already feeling better. Let me stay on this. And so I did, and I never had to take the antibiotic, and I was so proud of myself. I took this along with some probiotics and Biocidin, and I knocked it out. In fact, I went back to the doctor and said, hey, can we do another urine test to just make sure that it's gone? And sure enough, it was gone. So I was really excited about that. So fast forward to, I guess 2 weeks ago or 10 days ago or whenever it was at this point, and I get another UTI. Well, I had, if I'm remembering correctly, I had sort of calmed down on my probiotic intake. So that's one of the things that I'm kind of looking back thinking, I guess I don't have the privilege of doing that right now. I have to really stay up on that. And so I got another one, and I started doing my woo, my natural remedies for it. And it didn't seem like it was working. And so I went ahead and went to the doctor, and I did a teledoc thing, and I got an antibiotic, and I went on it for 5 days, and I was not happy about it, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I did it for 5 days. It stopped on a Monday. Tuesday was sort of okay. I kind of felt like it was coming back. Wednesday, it was full force, totally back. So I went to the doctor again. I started taking all my stuff. I went to the doctor again. She gave me a different antibiotic. I felt horrible that whole day. I was exhausted and all this kind of stuff. And so she gave me a third antibiotic. Well, I hadn't started that one, and I had started to feel better. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to give my body another opportunity. I'm going to hit it full force with everything I got. I'm going to increase. I'm going to do all this kind of stuff. I'm going to hit it from every angle. And I'm going to just see. I'm going to get the third antibiotic that she recommended. And I'm going to do all this stuff in the meantime and just have it in the background in case I want to take it. So that was sort of my thought process. So I started doing it, and I'm going to walk you through everything I did this time because it's more intense. So the first thing I did, so let me just kind of fast forward real quick. I never had to take that antibiotic. We went Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 5 days into not having to take that third antibiotic. And I got a phone call this morning from my doctor saying that the culture came back. And there were 2 bacteria this time, and the antibiotics she had given me would only kill one, not the other. And so had I taken that one, I would have wiped out more of my beneficial microbiome, and it would probably be working. And so I might have to take another one. So that would have been really bad. However, I'm doing all this stuff and it seems to be working. So I'm going to share it with you. So the first thing I always go to is Biocidin. This is a broad spectrum antimicrobial, antibiotic, antiviral, antibacterial. However, what's nice about it is it's all natural herbal extracts. And so it does not eliminate all the beneficial bacteria like a prescription antibiotic would. So this is basically an herbal antibiotic that still allows your beneficial bacteria to grow. So this is one of my favorite things in the whole world. And so for an acute UTI, you can take a specific dosage of this for a period of time. And I actually, with everything in my life, this is an ongoing supplement for me. But after like the UTI, for example, I'll try to kind of wean down the dosage. And again, I'm not your doctor and I'm not recommending specific treatments, so talk to them. And this is not like a prescription for any of you. I'm just sharing my story. So definitely Biocidin. So this is the kill, right? This kills off the bad bacteria. And then you've probably heard a lot about cranberry juice because it doesn't necessarily kill the bacteria, but it can, I believe, stop them from attaching, which stops the proliferation basically. And so if you drink a ton of cranberry juice, that can be a lot of sugar. Even if it's an unsweetened, it's still a juice. And if you drink enough, that's a lot. And if you don't want to impact your blood sugar or you don't want to be drinking juice all day, you can just do cranberry concentrate pills. So like I said, originally I did sort of a minor protocol and I wrote a blog post about this, but this one, since it resisted 5 days of antibiotics and was pretty bad, and turns out I had 2 bacteria, didn't know that at the time, but found out this morning, I ended up expanding. So I was like hitting it with everything I got. So I've been taking these cranberry concentrate pills. You take 2 a day. In addition, I was taking this. So this is up to 4 scoops a day until this is gone. I was taking 3 because it overlaps quite a lot with the ingredients in this one, and I was also taking this one. So I took less of the full dose because some of it overlapped with this. This is called Urinary X, okay? And this is a urinary yeast support, and it includes D-mannose as well, which, by the way, is a sugar that stops the bacteria from adhering to the wall of the bladder, and so it helps you flush everything out. That's coconut oil, cranberry, grapefruit, olive leaf extract, oregano leaf extract, uva ursi, marshmallow, red raspberry, bilberry, and blueberry. So you hear a couple of those ingredients are the same, so I didn't want to take, the full dose of this one. So I calmed it down a little bit. This one you take 3 a day. So I'm taking it basically with each meal. And then garlic. So you can take 2 of these a day. You could technically chew a garlic clove as well, but that will probably burn your tongue and possibly give you some acid reflux. So this can too. So you want to make sure that you're taking it on a full stomach after a semi-filling meal. And so this is garlic powder and garlic extract. Okay, and so all of these are things that can be antiviral, antibacterial, and support your body in a situation like this. So we have the kill, we have the urinary support and things that help flush out the bacteria and stop it from adhering and proliferating. We have the cranberry, we have the garlic, and then the replenish and sort of, this is, I think, one of the most important parts that you can do in a situation like this, is you don't just want to kill everything off. I think one of the best things you can do is actually go into an intense probiotic therapy so that you are increasing your probiotics and your beneficial bacteria, because that's what they do, is they fight against the negative bacteria. So I go full force on Megaspore, which is 2 a day. So I'm taking 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening. And I didn't grab my other one because it is in the refrigerator and I didn't know how long this would take. I didn't want it to sit out. But it is Claire Labs ABX, like antibiotics, and it has been proven to be effective during or after the course of antibiotics to help support your gut during that time. So I'm actually taking both because they are completely different strains. And for something this intense, I feel, and my body feels like we need more of an intervention, a probiotic therapy, not just kind of support or maintenance, but therapy. And so that is like a therapeutic dose, which is pretty high. So I'm taking the full dose, which is 2 a day of these and 2 a day of the other one. And so I'll take 1 of each in the morning and 1 of each at night. And the other thing I'm doing is vitamin C. I have a powder that I use and I put it in my shake. And sometimes I do 4 grams, sometimes I do 8 grams. I was trying to do 8 for a little while. So again, being really intense about it up front, and then you can kind of calm down. So for example, this is calming down, and this is, I'm keeping this right now. And so this is kind of going away. This is going to stay. I'm going to be doing this basically for 10 days. Because here's the thing, once the pain goes away, that doesn't necessarily mean the problem has gone away. And so kind of like how they tell you not to stop taking an antibiotic if you feel better, you kind of got to go the whole round. It's because your body, like, it needs that support for a period of time. And so you can't really fall back. So I really feel like the issue that I had this second one was that I didn't acknowledge what was happening quickly enough. Otherwise, I could have done all of this up front and avoided that first antibiotic. But I waited a little too long. I kind of ignored the signs that it was maybe coming on. And by the time it did, I was a little behind the curve. So that's a good lesson to learn about these things is when you find what works, if you feel like it's coming on again, you can't ignore it. You got to be right up front with it. You can't really get behind the curve because that's when it becomes difficult. That's when it gets a little more dangerous, etc. So again, I'm not telling you that this is the answer for you, but when I was sharing this in my Instagram stories and everything, it seemed like a lot of people could relate, and so I wanted to share my process. This seems to be working. Like I said, I got a call from my doctor today that had I taken that last antibiotic, which again would have wiped out so much of my beneficial gut bacteria, it wouldn't have worked anyways because it only worked against one of the bacteria, not the other. And so I would have potentially needed another one if I had gone that route. And that would just be a lot. 3 rounds of antibiotics in a week would have been crazy. So I chose to do this instead. Now, full disclosure, this is more expensive than an antibiotic, but I prefer to do this and to support my body and to help it fight naturally whenever I possibly can. And to be honest, you feel so much better on that. Antibiotics can really, really make you feel crappy, because it's killing all these things that really, really help you. So that is sort of my process. I hope that it's helpful. Anything else that I wanted to share about that? Again, I'm not your doctor. This is not a prescription. But I did want to share what I did because it's super, super helpful. So again, if I caught it at the beginning, I probably could have just kept it super simple, this and some probiotics. But since I was kind of behind the curve and it was sticking around, I added everything else and I got really intense with it. And I'm going to stay pretty intense with it for a little while until it goes away. The last thing that I'm going to try is called Uqura, Uqura, I believe. And it's 3 supplements that are like daily support for people that are prone to have UTIs. So once I kind of go through all of this, I'm going to get on that probably for 1 or 2 months just to give my body ongoing support. Make sure it's fully back where I need it to be before kind of going back to normal. So I hope that's helpful. I hope this sort of explained why the gut is actually intricately connected to these things. And so you can't just randomly treat different things without supporting the gut, because ultimately it always comes back to the beneficial or the the balance of the beneficial and the opportunistic bacteria. And if we're not supporting that, long term, we're not going to see the results that we want. But if that's where we start, then we often see so many amazing results. So I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know. Like I said, this is day 5 on this, and feeling so much better. And so I'm going to continue what I'm doing and just stay really on top of it. Can't forget to drink a ton of water during this time too. Can't get dehydrated. That'll trigger it back as well. So got to flush. You got to kill, and you got to repopulate. So that's kind of where we're at. I hope this is encouraging. I hope you guys have a great Monday.